and Michael Shea.
Good morning here. Jean-Luc Baker speaking from the practice rink in Wichita, Kansas for the U.S. National Championships 2025. Right now we will be covering the men's practice, the championship men's practice. We are looking at just 3 skaters on the ice right now, and we're going to have them just get themselves ready for the day. It looks like they have 2 practices today, both in this arena, one later today at 3 p.m. as well, but right now we'll just be covering this morning's practices. I can imagine that this practice will probably be a little bit more of a laid-back skate. I'm thinking that these guys are getting themselves prepped for their events coming up, starting on Saturday and the free program on Sunday. So they still have 2 more days of practice. They have 4 practices, so which is why you'll probably see quite a few throughout today maybe not showing up. They might have just opted out to stay home for a little bit longer just to work in their home environment, knowing that today they're only skating in the practice rink. If you guys have any questions throughout the practice today, I do not have a guest with me to banter with. So if you guys have any questions at all, please send them to @USFigureSkating on X. I will do my best to get to those, have a little bit more of a conversation with you guys. Otherwise, I will be talking to the skaters, even though they can't hear me.
There is 1 minute remaining in this warm-up. After warm-up, we will play music, beginning with Joseph Klein, to be followed by Jimmy Ma. The warm-up has concluded. Our first skater is Joseph Klein with his short
Skating
program,
first will be Joseph
to be followed
Klein.
by Jimmy Ma.
Some strong knees he's got there. Oh, very impactful ending. That is fun.
Your music time was 2
I'm a fan.
minutes and 51 seconds. Next to skate, Jimmy Ma with his free program, to be followed by Ilia Malinin.
Skating now is Jimmy Ma. Jimmy is notorious for just going absolutely bonkers when he skates in terms of the intensity, the crowd appeal. He just feeds off of the audience so much. And speaking of that, it's very challenging in here right now as there's not many people watching. I think maybe a couple judges might be in here. There's only 3 skaters as opposed to there's 6 on this practice right now. Sometimes it's so peaceful, but the environment itself is a little gloomy. Jimmy's ability to project when he skates, actually, I really enjoy. Especially when he does a style like this. I find that it's very authentic, too. His expression aligns a lot with the musicality of what's happening, the music, the feeling of the music. Wow, the questions are rolling in. Thank you so much. For real, this is amazing. All right, Lauren, did I ever compete in singles? Briefly, when I was around 7 or 8 years old. I had a tendency just to do like the first jump. I've told this story a little bit before, but if you didn't catch it, I had a tendency to do the first jump. If it went well, I would start improvising and doing whatever I wanted for the rest of the program. because I just was like a little bit of a free spirit in that space. So that's kind of how I got into ice dance, because my mom at the time was my coach, and so was my father, and they were phenomenal. But she was kind of under the impression that I can't really do that if I want to be competitive. You can't just do whatever you want. Unless you're doing maybe an improvisational skate or a showcase. So she decided that I should probably hold somebody's hand to keep me under control. And that's exactly what happened. And then that's all she wrote. Oh, Kat, thank you so much. Yeah, you're working from home. You get my commentary. Hopefully I don't annoy you too much. But if you are in a Zoom meeting, make sure you mute that TV, because I will be talking quite a bit. How many days in advance did you like getting to a big competition? Ooh, excellent question. You know, it really depended. At a Grand Prix earlier on in the season, I like to be there like 1 day prior to the event starting. Competed on a Friday, I'd like to get there Wednesday night, have practice on Thursday, and then make it happen, because we really thrived on those extra practice days at home just to get those final tweaks, those final adjustments made. A lot of the time, like, changes to a program could be done a week before. We didn't like to, but sometimes they were. So any extra practice in the comfort of our own home to where we can take our time and it's not judged. Oh wow, look at this. We really appreciate it. This is exactly what I'm talking about with the commitment of Jimmy Ma. Commitment to expression, commitment to feeling. He's creating the energy in this arena right now. Something as a skater, which I always loved, and skaters, when they can recognize, is when people stop to watch, or when conversations stop happening when you're watching an event. I mean, obviously people don't like to do that, but if you're watching something beautiful, oftentimes you stop in your tracks and you just watch and listen and admire and absorb what's being given. Now, I'm here to talk to you, so that's the reason why I am. I'm not just being silent. But Jimmy has that effect. When he's fully in his moment, he can create. Oh, very cool. Love that space hold he did right out of the spin. Did the jump and then just a quick little breath. Nice walk, like run of Jimmy Ma there. Quite a bit marked, but at the same time, again, it's just about energy management. But getting to the competition in advance, Grand Prix 1 day prior, Nationals, we always had to get there like 3 days before the event started, because like I mentioned yesterday during the ice dance practice, they only have one skate on that main rink. This is Ilia's music, but Ilia is not here currently, or not on this practice, I should say. But yeah, on an ice dance, we usually only end up getting one practice on that main rink with our music. And it happens to be like 2, sometimes 3 days before the event itself. So we really leaned into trying to get our skate on that rink. It just is a long time to be at an event. And all the championship events, usually you have 2 to 3 days of practice. Anytime you're going to Asia, you'd like to have 2 days of practice at least before you end up competing. I'm done waiting for you. So, I mean, obviously, crowd favorite, Ilia. I mean, what Ilia has done over the past couple of years now, just marking a staple as his name, the Quad God. Love that. But, I mean, I think that what's so cool about Ilia is watching him grow over the last 12 months as an artistic skater. He still has a long way to go, but you can see that he is putting so much effort into trying to perform better. He knows he has a jump content to be up there, and I think that this, like, after that, everyone always looks at what people aren't doing, and although he is doing it, I mean, no one's going to really talk about his jumps because he just shows up and delivers that. So a lot of times as a skater, people only point out the things that you're not doing, or you're not doing enough of, or you're not good enough at. So I know that Ilia, from just witnessing and even discussions that we've had, he's been driving and just pushing that performance level, that skating skill, that artistry, and I think it's starting to pay off. I mean, there's still 12 months until the Olympic Games, and I know he's going to be vying for not just any medal at that event. He's going to want that gold, and he's going to want to walk away with that. So I think that you need to have the full package, and I think he is pushing himself in that direction as much as he possibly can. Heather C. with a good question. Who are your dark horses in the senior men's event this year? Oh, let me look at the list. Well, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what Max shows up with. I'm really interested to see how Samuel Mindra shows up at this event. I really like his skating. It is so grounded. It is so masculine in a way that it seems like it really is just dominating on the ice, but so calm at the same time. And Torgashev. I mean, I know that he has had a phenomenal season. Like, he's really on the come up this year. And he's always had that ability in there, and I think that he's just starting to really put those puzzle pieces together. So those three skaters, I think I'm very excited to see. The Tabby Whisperer. During a competition, how much downtime do you have as a skater? Oh, it depends on what event you're at. I mean, if we're talking about like a Grand Prix, at like a Skate America, when we get there one day before, not that much downtime. Usually we just have one practice, so we wake up in time. Oh my gosh, Purple Rain. You got me. I talk about music a lot. Sorry, I'll get back to that question, but I talk about music a lot and the importance of it and how it makes you feel something, and I haven't met anybody that can hear this song and not be like, yeah, I feel that. Not yet, at least. So I think that anytime you're skating to something so amazing like this that people like really know, I think it's so smart to just explore how you can move an audience without even having to do something yet. And in arena, hearing something like Purple Rain or anything of those big, beautiful pieces of music, I think you're like, okay, I'm guaranteed at least 12 hours of chilling. So that is super important, and something that I always loved to see. Yeah, we always tried to see some really cool things when we went places. I mean, we went to China and saw the Great Wall at a Cup of China. In Europe, it's so cool just to explore the different cultures as well. I mean, that's one of the coolest things about when we get to travel. Like, not only do we get to travel to do what we love and perform and representing the U.S., but it's so cool because we get to experience so many different cultures at the same time.
With his free program.
We talked about warhorse music. I have to say about ones that I got asked the question, I think, yesterday about what music would I want to see as a warhorse. I don't know if it's considered one or not, but I always wanted to skate to the Mission. This piece right now, I thought it's so beautiful. And as a skater too, and as an audience member, it's so cool with music that's so beautiful like this. When the skate's going, just like the skater is on, you start to feel those like, oh, those goosebumps start to build because you're like, oh, we're doing it, we're doing the thing. Very nice.
Your music time was 4 minutes and 10 seconds. There are approximately 12 minutes remaining.
4 minutes can sound really long, or it can be really quick, depending on the type of skater you are, depending on the type of skate that you're having. But really, the way that that music is built, and you're having proper bridges, I mean, that's one of the benefits I always had about skating with Caitlin, is she is phenomenally knowledgeable when it comes to music and like theory of music, and just, I mean, she DJs all the time as well, and she used to always cut our music before we'd have Hugo Chouinard do ours. But I think that for us, it's so important to have that music be something that makes sense, has a journey. It takes you on a journey. I mean, we're trying to fill a whole story within 4 minutes. Any longer, I don't think we'd make it through. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know. I think that the importance of music is oftentimes overlooked. Got another great question. How do competition days normally go when you aren't expected to skate until 10 p.m. or later sometimes? Do you nap during the day? Ooh, great question. We worked a lot with our sports psychologist and also the life coach that both Caitlin and I worked with, just about kind of understanding how to manage your energy throughout the day when you have a 10 p.m., 11 p.m., sometimes even a skate at midnight. You're skating so late. If you're in that last group, I recall sometimes we would compete and we would go on for our last 5-minute warm-up at like 10:30 p.m., 10:45, and that means if we skated last in that event, we'd be performing and competing our routine around 11:30, 11:45, which is late, very, very late. But yeah, I was notorious for naps. I got really, really good at them. I've always been great at them, but a lot of skaters really lean into doing naps. We worked on trying to create a day as a 2-day day, is what we'd call it. So we would like wake up, start our day, probably have our practice or our warm-up in the morning. And then if we finished that warm-up, sometimes usually around 12 or even as early as 11 a.m., we'd go back, we would chill, we would eat some lunch, like thinking of it as more like dinner potentially, wake up, and then oftentimes it would be kind of take a nap, take a break, and have a 2-day day. So you'd restart almost and break it into 2 halves. And if you could give yourself that time to like shut down, like take a nap or even just like reset. Caitlin didn't love napping. She like loved watching Friends. That was her thing. Or other episodes, like other shows like that. But Friends was her gig. And I always like, we'd meet back in the lobby afterwards, but getting ready to go to the rink again. Like, how many episodes did you watch? And she'd always watch a couple of them while she got ready. But yeah, we'd try to like go for a walk, keep ourselves like remotely engaged, not let ourselves relax too much, but we did need to shut off. And then you just kind of restart it all. What the hard thing about that is then most of the time you're not going to bed until like 3 or 4 a.m. And because you have the adrenaline of the event, oftentimes it's overlooked too, the adrenaline you get after competing. You're really put yourself into such a vulnerable place as a high-level competitor, and your body is just so amped up the whole time afterwards, regardless of how it goes usually. Especially if it goes well, you're fired up. And sometimes what was so challenging is when you had a late short program or a late rhythm dance, finish, let's say 10 p.m. on like a Friday night, and sometimes you'd have a 7 a.m. practice the next morning. So if you're finishing at 10 p.m., you're most of the time either have a draw afterwards or you're not out of there until the press conference is finished until like 11:30. Then you're going to want to eat and refuel, so you're not done until like 12:30. Shower, get back to bed 1 a.m. But then you need to like calm down, and then it's really hard in that time frame. It's hard to like slow down, slowing your mind down. We used to do a lot of meditating as well, trying to just control our nervous system. Nervous system management in events like this is so crucial. It's so much more than just what's being delivered on the ice. Yes, the 4 minutes is what we're rewarded for, but the amount of hours of training that you have to put in for all the other stuff is so important. The just wellness of yourself, taking care of yourself, all things like that is so, so crucial. So adrenaline is a huge thing when it comes to competing. Towns of Paper. Are there any elements in ice dance that you think would be interesting to see added to singles or pair skating? Oh, or vice versa. Yeah, I want to see everyone do a pattern of the Golden Waltz. Every single skater in all the events. No, I really would love... What would I love to see? It's a great question. You know, that's a really good question, because I think that if we started intermixing too many elements, I think we would lose a discipline. And I think that would... I think that it just would blend too much. I think having the individuality of all the elements is so crucial. I would love to see another footwork in ice dance and maybe like one less choreographic kind of element, or more requirements for dance frame in ice dance. I feel like I can't say old school ice dance, but I miss the importance of seeing a beautiful waltz hold and the beautiful foxtrot hold. I miss seeing those. I think it'd be cool. Well, because the freestylers' footworks, particularly the freestylers' footworks, their levels are very hard to get, but they're both, the women and the men, are so good at performing them. And when you see them really performed, I mean, you can't say that it looks similar to like a choreographic step sequence from ice dance. I think pair spins we could probably get rid of. Their levels are so hard, and I don't think we really see too much from them. But I understand the importance of keeping them. Do I have a favorite program of the season so far? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if that's in reference to all skaters or just U.S. skaters. For U.S. skaters, favorite program. I really love Alyssa Liu's short program, if I'm referencing U.S. skaters. I think her short program is amazing. I like Andrew Torgashev's free program a lot. I think it's so cool. I also love it just because, like, when that thing's skated clean, he, like, shreds. Chalkbait's free dance has grown on me quite a bit. I think that they do a really, really cool job with quite a bit of it. I think it's really developed and matured throughout the year. It's aged well. Yeah, I can answer that question again at the end of the week if there's any more programs that come to mind. If I'm just referencing US skaters, those are the ones that I've got. I appreciate the comments, you guys, everyone that's sending in questions and whatnot. It make this a lot of fun for me. I already really enjoyed doing this, sharing my knowledge, sharing my 2 cents with you guys. But when you guys are asking questions, I feel like it's a little bit more podcasty, but I'm trying not to make it that. But I am really wanting to share as much as I can with you, answer the questions that you guys might have, commentate on what I'm seeing. As we've noticed, Jimmy Ma did get off the ice. I think he's wrapped up his practice now. I think he's complete. He's got enough out of this one for the day. Sometimes you can kind of just keep going through the motions a little too much. I think being intentional with what you're doing and what you're wanting to get out of your skating is super crucial on these practices and just in your training itself. Another great question. In regard to choreography and composition, how can you tell a good program from a great program? Whoa. Okay, so I think the difference between a good program and a great program is everyone at this event pretty much is going to be doing good programs. Now, you'll have your handful of skaters that have great programs. A prime example of a great program would be Alyssa Liu's short program. I think that just flow over the ice, and I'm not just saying like skating skill flow. It's the ease of watching how things come in and out of corners. There isn't any like moments coming out of a corner or like fighting nature. You want to give yourself adequate spacing for all of your lobes to make sure that you can really maximize your own abilities within them. But I think musicality and intention of musicality is so crucial. I think that seeing a skater have purpose and intention when they skate already is a great starting point to good choreography. And I think that when the skaters aligned with who they are or who they want to become within their performance or like what embodiment they want to have, it starts to show something so different within the performance, which makes an effortlessness and an ease. I think when you watch a great program or great choreography, you don't really have time to think. Imagining that everyone skates great. Everyone stands up. There isn't any little mistakes, maybe a little under-rotated things here and there or little bobbles, whatnot. But for the most part, let's say everyone skates great. I think that you won't be disconnected from your own world for every skater, but there are skaters that allow you to take a break yourself in a way that when you're watching skating, you can just be totally embodied in the performance. And that's the beauty of skating itself. I think that it's sport and it's art. And it's like when you go see a beautiful ballet or when you watch an intense or a beautiful scene in a movie, you're like, if it's a battle scene in a movie, you're like tense in your body and then it's over and you're like, oh, you let your body go. Or if it's like a beautiful romantic or a beautiful, even a sad scene, you're like so in it and you're not thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to pay my electricity bill. Or, oh my gosh, I have to pay my car payment. Anytime that you have the ability to think about all the other things that are happening on in your life, I think that that's a good program. But I think that as a skater and as a choreographer, you can allow people to take a little break. Just like, I mean, as Kat's working from home, I mean, maybe she'll see some skaters today. She's working from home and watching this practice ice. I think, I think that if you have the opportunity and you're watching somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, like I forgot to write that email because I was so lost in Jimmy Ma's skate or something like that. I think when there's just full alignment and there's full clarity on what they want, that's going to be your difference in terms of good and great choreography. Because it's not necessarily what you do, it's how you do it. I mean, you can have skaters go out on the ice and just sell you a basic stroke depending on what they deliver and how they deliver it. So that wraps up our first group. Now we will be going on to our second group. Group B. So as this second group gets underway here, I'm so thrilled that you guys are still joining us. I don't know if you're taking a little break or whatnot, but thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing, chiming in, giving me your comments, your questions, concerns, anything in the above. I hope your days are going great. Mine is. I got a blanket wrapped around me because this ice rink is definitely colder than I thought it would be. You'd think I'd know by now that ice rinks are probably not warm, but it's okay. We'll get there eventually.
There is 1 minute remaining in this warm-up. After warm-up, music will be played, beginning with Taira Shinohara, to be followed by Goku Endo.
Writer comedy. I see we got the questions locked in now. I know we were troubleshooting the first 2 days, trying to figure out where to send them. But yes, I agree with you. They wrote that they're an old school ice dance enthusiast, and they missed the rule that during pattern dances you had to remain hip to hip, no space in between. And noticing that now necessarily you can kind of do any hold that you want, and you kind of miss that dance frame. I agree. It's very hard to skate super close and very fast. It doesn't get rewarded as much anymore as of right now, but that doesn't mean it can't change.
Short program music for Taira Shinohara, to be followed by Goku Endo.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Skating now, Goku Endo with his short program, to be followed by Lucius Kazanecki.
Great question about solo ice dance. What are your thoughts on solo ice dance as a discipline? I would like to see it integrated more into existing major comps as it grows. I think it's actually very cool because it's so hard to do. There are some phenomenal skaters that I've seen do it, and they're starting to compete it. And I think that like if you were able to start integrating more skaters, giving them that option, let's say after they wanted to compete in maybe freestyle or things like that have beautiful skating quality. I always joked around, but could you guys imagine,
Time was 2
let's say
minutes and
like you
51
see
seconds.
a Daisuke Takahashi rip solo ice dance, or a Jason Brown, or you start seeing some beautiful skaters that used to do freestyle. I know Daisuke did ice dance before you guys say he did ice dance. I know that. Thank you very much.
Next to skate,
But it would be
Lucius
so cool to
Kazanecki
see
with his short
skaters. I know
program,
Jason's still competing.
followed
Unfortunately,
by
he is not here with us this
Naumov.
week. But I think it would be really cool because it gives the opportunity to see the beauty of skating so much, and edge elements and things like that. I think there's such a draw to it if it's done very well, and I think that it is so competitive. This skater is so tall. I'm so excited to see what he does. Lucas. There's a lot of body to control, but also what's so... Oh, wow, beautiful. But the amplitude of his movements can be so beautiful if they start to become a little bit more finessed. One of the things that I always had to work on as a skater, I mean, being 5'7" on ISU bio, because that's what I wanted to put, but realistically 5'6", I had to work so hard to look as big as I possibly could, not just in the gym, but when I skated, my presentation, every single finish, every movement had to be at the utmost amplitude that I could possibly physically do to make sure that I wasn't being surrounded or being lost in a sea of giants. I mean, when I was moved to senior with Caitlin, at the time, there was us, and I remember going on for that 5-minute warm-up for the free dance, and we were in that final group, and there was Maddie and Evan, so Evan Bates, 6 foot something, Zach Donahue, 6 foot something, Alex Shibatani, 6 foot something, Colin McManus, 6 foot something, or 5'11", or there was Alex Benoit, 6 foot something, or there's Anthony Ponomarenko, 6 foot something. And what I had to do for myself is to look as big as I possibly could. Now, when you are a tall skater, I think there's sometimes a comfort of knowing, oh yeah, I'm so big, that there isn't so much emphasis on trying to make yourself bigger. But could you imagine a skater with the size and height of Lucas, if he really, because there's moments he reaches, there's moments you could just see it there on that knee slide, he's hitting about like 80% of his reach. But if he really reached all the way past his fingertips on some of these moves, he would just, I mean, as a skater, if I was on the ice at the same time, he would make me look very, very small. But I think that that's what competition is, like there is no perfect cookie cutter size, honestly, in my opinion. I think that when you know how to perfect in a way using the best ability of your own body and the body that you've been given with, and you appreciate that, I think what's so cool is seeing how everyone is so different. So I think that moving forward, I'd love to see Lucas just give me a little bit more of that stretch out of body reach.
Your music time was 2 minutes and 49 seconds. And now we'll play the short program music.
Good question. What do you think would help grow the sport to increase viewership, etc.? Is it a problem of lack of star power, lack of TV coverage, things like that? You know, I don't think it's a lack of star power. I mean, I think that we could probably find ways. I think we absolutely can find more ways to push our athletes to be more active on social media, but also giving them the best amount of content to work with. I mean, clips here and there. And I know the team here, the media team here, the media team working with US Figure Skating, NBC, with Peacock, they are doing the best that they possibly can to try to facilitate everything that the athletes' needs, knowing that all athletes have different desires. Some athletes are like, don't talk to me at an event. I have my job to do, so please don't ask me to do extra interviews. I don't want extra videos taken. Everyone kind of has their own opinion on what they're looking for and what they need. But I think the hardest thing is that people do not understand it. I think that you have your skating fans, which know what jumps are what. I think you have your ice dance fans, which kind of know, like, I mean, remotely, if you follow along what's going on. But I think the scores are very hard to understand. I mean, both my parents are coaches, still to this day. And when I moved away from home at 18, to train with Caitlin in Detroit, Michigan, and then moving to Montreal to work with the coaching team there, I think that the conversations we always had was like, oh wow, amazing skate, like, is that score's good, right? And I think the subtle question mark afterwards is where a lot of people sit. You hear so and so got 137 in their free skate, and you're like, great. But on a scale percentage, and I've been saying this for a little bit now, and I think it'd be very interesting to explore, whether it's on screen or on the Jumbotron in the arena, just to say, like, in ice dance, you can figure out what a maximum score is, imagining that you're getting +5s everything, level 4s everything, and let's say you're getting all 10s, so you can get a maximum score. I do not have that answer for you right now, what that is, but imagine, as a spectator, you saw that was 74% of a perfect score. Now, yes, that might not feel great as a skater to see that, or you're getting 40% of a perfect score. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't discredit you and what you're doing, but I think what it does is it allows the spectators and the viewership to be like, oh, okay, so that's what the maximum is. This is how close we are to the maximum, and then you're getting tight competitions of like, okay, we're looking at decimal points, 91.7% of a score, and then you're getting 91.65% of a score, and it's way more digestible, at least, to understand. And I think the hardest thing is people just don't really understand it. There's so many like ways to get points and lose points that people are like, I love that skate. Why did they get 7th? That was like the skate of the day. Why was that not 3rd or 2nd? So I think that is where it gets confusing. I think we have all the star power we need I think that our men's discipline, our women's discipline, I mean, we have 2-time world champions in ice dance, and our pairs team, anyone can take that thing, but we have Ellie and Danny. Like, we have amazing skaters across the board in all of our disciplines. I think it's just a matter of understanding what's what, and the content push on all the platforms needs to be a little bit more. Do I believe in the it factor in skating? That is a hard question. Quanette, you said you had a lot of questions. You didn't say you were going to drop the hardest one straight out of the gate. I do believe that there is an it factor in skating. I don't believe that you need to have it to win, because I think there are champions out there currently, and I think there are champions in the past that did not have it but have won. And I think there are people that have it and that have not won. But I think that when you're talking about crowd favorites, when you're talking about people that remember you or that you become remembered within the sport, I think that majority of the time they had, quote unquote, the it factor. The it factor varies amongst many different skaters and athletes and people, but I think it's really just the authenticness that they bring to the table. I mean, again, I'm going to say it, Alyssa Liu has it. Like, she's got it. She's there, she's doing the thing. And I think Ilia is leaning into himself more now. Obviously, when we're looking past the technical content, we're wooed by the technical content which he brings to the table. But I think that what I'm seeing more of now with him pushing his performance style is that you're really starting to see it. You're starting to see, oh, okay. Like, people want to see real. Everyone loves someone that is real, a real conversation, a real interaction. They want to be seen, they want to be heard. And I think that when you see an athlete that wears his heart on their sleeves and just lets people into the world that they're in, an athlete, a performer, an artist, then you're like, oh my gosh, that's it, right? And then if you can have a quality behind that, which is a technical or a skating skill or anything like that, I think that obviously amplifies it. But I think a lot more people have the it factor than they realize. It's just, this is a scary, scary sport, not just because of the danger that comes with it, but it's a fishbowl out there, everyone. Like, we're sitting out there and everyone's watching us. I know that you guys are all fans and there's volunteers and there's everyone, but you are alone, and you're asking people to judge you and give you a score based off of what you're producing. But there is a component of artistry which comes from a component of yourself, which then can directly correlate into, like, your ego potentially getting damaged or hurt. But that's a different conversation. But I do think that the it factor is definitely within this sport. Good question by David. I will get to that after this. The ice coverage right now from the skater is very, very... Oh, wow. So I was talking a little bit before about the extensions and finishing your movements and really maximizing your amplitude. Straight out of the gate, I'm feeling that with this skater right here. as he's performing this footwork sequence, I wish that I saw more choreographed look downs and more of a neutral looking up versus a choreographed looking up and a neutral down. A lot of the times when you're seeing skaters looking down at the ice, it's because they're going straight into their brain. They're thinking about things they're wanting to execute, and although that is super important, knowing and executing well, when you are looking down at the ice, people are not welcomed into your world. It is beautiful what I'm watching. The skating itself, the artistry, but I wish that I wish I could connect more with the skater, and I noticed that he's in his world, but not necessarily inviting to it. A quick cue to see if someone's like really focused or looking into their world is when they're looking down. I find that the more I've watched skating over the years, the more that you're like looking down and in your world, you're thinking about something and you're not fully present in what you're feeling in that moment.
Your music time was 4 minutes and 9 seconds. There are approximately 13 minutes remaining in this practice session. Skaters, if we have mispronounced your name, please notify the announcer.
David with the question, what would you have skated to this season if you were still competing, rhythm dance and free dance? That's a crazy question. I love it. I don't know. Probably something I'd want to do within the rhythm dance, something within the 70s. I mean, I'm always a sucker for a good disco. But I'm sure if we were to do a disco again, people would probably be like, why are they still doing a disco program? Let's see something different. But, I mean, like, whatever. I'd want to do it. It'd be fun. And if it puts a smile on your face, actually, if it puts a smile on my face and then it might put a smile on your face, I think we're both winning. But I think it'd be really fun to explore. I love Marjo and Zach from Canada, their Austin Powers rhythm dance. I mean, I'm such a fan of that. I mean, as if anyone knows, Caitlin and I, we did do an Austin Powers Gala program. So anything I get to do to be a little goofy and fun, especially in a rhythm dance, I'm a big fan of. So probably exploring something like that. For free dance, I have no idea. That's such a great question. I mean, I love the last free dance that we choreographed, the one to Fred Again, I Found You. It's on YouTube. We never got to compete it and perform it, but we wanted to film it at least and show everybody and show ourselves what we created together. And that's the one that maybe we would have done. I don't know. Oh, that one didn't look like it was super comfortable. Thank you all for following along so much. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but for real, thank you guys for making this possible for me. I hope you guys are enjoying what you're hearing. I hope you guys are learning some things. I hope you guys are getting to watch some more figure skating. I think the more we get to watch, the more we can appreciate. And the more we learn, too, and seeing the difference and what it takes from the practices to being able to get themselves ready for competition and seeing how these skaters are training right now and rehearsing and getting themselves prepped. I think it's so cool what Peacock is offering with this and just giving you guys a totally different insight from the event itself. Putting me on the spot for podium predictions. Tabby Whisperer. I can't fully answer that, but I bet you Chalk Bates will be on the podium. I could imagine Amber Glenn will be on the podium, and I also, hot take, Ilia might be on the podium. So I can give you that. At U.S. Nationals as well, just everyone that is listening, if you don't know, top 4 is the podium. So, yep. That's all you're getting, Tabby. Sorry. Oh, and Ellie and Danny. Excuse me. Sorry, I just totally Totally forgot about pairs there. Yeah, and Ellie and Danny on the podium. On the podium, though. Don't misinterpret that like I said a number or a placement with that. That was just on the podium. So last couple of minutes of this practice, I will just be having a quick, I won't be having an ice cut. There will be an ice cut. And then we'll be following up with the third group of the men's championship men's practice. If you have any questions, send them to me at US Figure Skating on X, Twitter, just in case anyone doesn't know, that's what that X icon is now on their phone. I will get back to those on the next session. So start sending them in. Anything you want to know, I'll do my best.
There is 1 minute remaining in this practice session. Competitors, if we have mispronounced your name, please notify the announcer.
And that concludes the second group of the championship men's. We're going to have an ice cut, tune back in 15 minutes. We'll be following back up with the third group of championship men. And I will also be covering the championship ice dance practice following that. All three groupings. Giving you my hot takes, giving you my takes, all the things that I'm seeing that follow in, tune in, check it out. Thank you for being here with me.
The next practice session will be for Championship Men Group C after a resurfacing. The next practice is scheduled to start at 11:35. This practice session is for Championship Men Group C. Competitors may now take the ice for a 6-minute warm-up. Each competitor's music will be played one time in the following order. Tomoki Hiwatashi, Liam Kapeikis, Kai Kovar, Samuel Mindra, Camden Pulkinen, and Andrew Torgashev.
Okay, and welcome back to the final group of Championship Men's practice, their first practice today, the one that I will be covering. It is a chilly one in here. I'm sure you guys are nice and toasty and warm. I was just in the lobby doing a little bit of jumping jacks because we are right by the Zamboni entrance. But we are ringside, and this is Jean-Luc Baker at the U.S. Championships 2025 in Wichita, Kansas. We have 4 of the 6 skaters in this group. If you have any questions, send them to me at US Figure Skating on X. That's Twitter for anyone else that doesn't know, but on X at US Figure Skating. Send me some questions. See your thoughts. Any questions that you got, I'm going to do my best to answer them through this practice. I will also be covering the ice dance practice following this. So you still got a while. This is going to be an exciting group. We are missing Kai and Andrew from this group, I believe. Yeah. So Kai and Andrew are not on this group right now, but we have the other skaters. We have Tomoki, we have Liam, Samuel Mindra, and Camden Pulkinen getting themselves revved up. I'm really excited to see what Camden delivers. This guy, he's a good friend of mine, but I'm excited to see, because when Camden's on, he is on. One of the most expressive skaters that I know. He has such good content when it's delivered. Obviously, the delivery is the hard part. On screen, you can see Samuel Mindra.
There is 1 minute remaining in this warm-up. After warm-up, music will be played, beginning with Tomoki Hiwatashi, to be followed by Liam Kapeikis. Skaters, the warm-up has concluded. Our first skater is Tomoki Hiwatashi, skating his short program, to be followed by Liam Kapeikis.
Skating first is Tomoki. Your music time was 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I think that'll be a really fun program from Tomoki. I like the music choices.
Next is Liam Kapeikis with his short program, to be followed by Kovar.
Liam Kapeikis. Ooh, love this song so much. There's some really nice accents to this. Musicality of those that jumping pass too, like, you know, I talking about composition earlier today. This so far for me, everything seems to make sense for when things are placed. I like the space hold that he does in between his movements of like snapping and having the movement echo. Very powerful. Very powerful.
2 minutes and 52 seconds.
He looks very well trained. I like it.
Next to skate is Kovar with his free program, to be followed by Samuel Mindra.
My mistake earlier on, Kai is here for this practice. This is Kai. Good. Kind of threw my body into the air and then called it good.
Your music time was 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And next to skate will be Samuel Mindra with his free skate.
Skating now
To be followed by Camden Pulkinen.
is Samuel Mindra. In a moment.
Sorry, Samuel, you're short.
He's like, yeah, I'm not doing my free program right now. No way. I'm doing my short. That's right.
Here's Samuel Mindra with his short program.
Yeah. Save your legs, buddy. It's a long day. I talked about Sam being potentially one of the dark horses for me because I think that he's really starting to come into his own. But as I talked about earlier, the groundedness that he omits when he skates, there's such a clarity within his, not just movements, but the steps themselves. Every time he's stepping from one foot to the other, you can see that there isn't like a readjustment of weight, meaning that he's always prepped, for the most part, ready for the next thing without anticipating it. It's a very hard skill to learn how to do because within skating you want to be present, but you want to be aware of what's coming next, but you can't be thinking too far ahead because then you're not present. It's very similar to driving, knowing that you want to turn. When you want to turn left, you have to anticipate the fact that you're going to start changing lanes, looking to see if there's cars there. Then you prepare yourself, then you're going to turn left. It's the same with skating, but you're not thinking about the left turn that you're going to execute before you've changed lanes. So it's this fine battle of being aware of what's coming, but being also in the current state that you're in. And once you can finally master that, when you can finally master that, you put yourself in a position to always be in the right spot at the right time, and that's where that groundedness comes from. Also, the use of his ankles when he skates, it's very, very clear, and that's why he can get so much speed so effortlessly. He's very powerful. I don't know this music, but I do like that it's progressively building throughout. Wow. Very cool. I'm a fan.
Your music time was 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Skating now, Camden Pulkinen.
Skating now, it's Camden doing a short.
By Andrew Torgashev.
The commitment that Camden, and as I talked about it factor, when Camden's not thinking too much and he's in his, oh yeah, he's there right now. You see how he's in his bubble and you're invited. You start leaning forward. Okay, he stopped. Okay, first like 5 seconds though, he invites you into his world. And you almost, if you're being aware of what your body does as a spectator, you start leaning just a little bit more forward because you like want more. His attention to detail on things too. Posture, beautiful, and like in terms of effortlessness of building power, 2 cross cuts, 1 step forward. He's, I don't like to say he's a dark horse because we all know he's there. Camden is such a force to be reckoned with when he's in the right headspace and it all pieces together. He ends that thing on time, lands all those jumps cleanly.
2 minutes
Ooh.
and 57 seconds.
I'm excited to see.
Here is the short program music for Andrew Torgashev.
Andrew is not here. Got a question just about, they saw that I was working with synchro teams. What was the experience like for me? I mean, it is so challenging working with synchro teams. I work with the Haydenettes in Boston, and it's very cool. I love working with them, but it's such a big challenge to see so many different people, so many different skaters working together, trying to do their thing. I mean, it's hard enough to see a nice dancer, a pair team try to be in unison side by side, let alone 16 skaters. So, yeah, it's been very cool. I am also such a fan of this music. I mean, if you think about music that just, like, is haunting, Strommer's voice, the artist that sings this, is just, it almost has like a possessiveness, which Andrew can definitely facilitate within his skating. If you guys have any questions, send them to me at US Figure Skating on X on Twitter. Doing my best to answer them.
There are approximately 12 minutes remaining in this practice session. Skaters, if we have mispronounced your name, please notify the announcer.
I am excited for this men's event. Throwing a couple more of the skaters in the mix when they get here, and Ilia and Andrew Torgashev, any of the others that I missed. See a couple of people commenting just about Camden's skating and his posture. I know we're all fangirling over what he can do. Like I said, I think Camden is a phenomenal skater, phenomenal person, but really he's an artist as well. And it's hard for him to find that pocket, but when he does, it is unreal. To the group. We started off with 3 in the first group, and now we're at 5 in this group. You just feel a totally difference of energy in terms of just the momentum that's being built. You feel within the skaters is like one thing after another, and they're all out here working, wanting to get their job done for the day, but also getting all their cues met. Great question. When you get a new program and need to learn it, what reference do you have to work from? Is there some sort of written list, a video? Do you remember your old programs well enough to be able to skate them now? Whoa, yay, yay. Well, good question, Tabby. when you learn a new program, I mean, it depends the type of skater that you are and the type of choreographer that you're working with. Some choreographers like to give you all the details straight out of the gate. Some like to lay down like what I call like a skeleton, and then you start adding it. You adding the nuances later on. I think that we were always the type of people that we were always adding like the decorations, like build the base of the cake and then decorated it throughout the whole year. But when it comes to remembering the material, I mean, you're not usually given 4 minutes of material in one day. It's about a week. And to be honest with you, a lot of the patterning, or for the most part, and a lot of the movements, the way you like to get into things, stays fairly similar. It's just more musical accents, which is like about, like I said, the decorations, like the fondant to the cake and whatnot. Clearly I'm hungry, apparently, and I'm craving some cake. But more so than that, it's some people have lists. I mean, when we do gala programs, Caitlin and I, we would always, like, on our notes, write down the list of things, like the direction in terms of what's what in what order, like what element are we doing, or what transition is next. If we, like, named a transition something particular, like a freedom transition that feels super free, or more like weavy and things like that. So we would sometimes have things in our notes. But when it came to your actual material that you'd be competing, a lot of the time you just kind of get used to remembering it, and it oftentimes changes so much in the first month of getting new material that you're not too attached on being perfect. I mean, perfection doesn't really exist, and I think that being open to just seeing how it develops, and if you end up improvising a little bit of a different step, clearly there's something that can feel a little bit more natural for you. Now, obviously, if you only did things that felt natural to you, you wouldn't get better. You wouldn't be pushing yourself. But at the same time, I think that there is an importance of finding that naturalness within your own skating and also pushing your limits. And do I remember old programs well enough to be able to skate them now? No. I usually finished our last event every year, and it was like kind of like I did like a clean wipe of my memory. Now, if I were to watch a video and Caitlin was like right next to me, I'm sure we'd be able to like finesse, and I'd be able to go right through it without watching the video. And if I have the video, then it'll come back like riding a bike. But yeah, it takes a minute to get back into that headspace of figuring out what works and what doesn't for the number itself. So about 5 minutes left in this championship men's group. Skaters starting to like slow their momentum down now. Some doing spins, some just going through some skating skill exercises, feeling out the ice, knowing that they are just having another practice later today. If they decide to do it, some might opt out from it. Some might be like, you know what, I'd rather prioritize my rest. They still have another day of practice tomorrow. They'll be in the main rink. I'll be doing commentary for that one as well. If you want to tune into Peacock, you can check that out. It'll be a lot of fun. See some great skating. Camden Pulkinen wrapping up his practice now. Well, thank you guys all so much for tuning in and watching this practice with me, joining me along, sending your questions. They've been great, everybody. Thank you for giving me things to also talk about, because I can only talk about so much of what I'm seeing. And yeah, it's been great, and I hope you guys have learned some stuff. Stay tuned. Quick little ice cut and then championship dance. I'll be covering all 3 groups, and that'll be the last of the Peacock commentary from me today. So feel free to stick along. Send your questions in if you want some more answers. And if not, have a great day. Thank you very much.
This practice session has ended. There will be a resurfacing to be followed by practice for championship dance group B. Dance practice is scheduled to start at 12:30.